There's an old philosophical idea that most people ultimately spend their lives simply preparing to live, looking towards the future, not living in the present, etc. And Imperium Galactica has kind of been like that for quite a while now. Economic development since the beginning of the game, we're still not finished with that. The Garthog threats that have been going on for a while at least now, all the pirate attacks. We're going to begin turning the page on a lot of those things in this episode, though, as we sort of move out of the early game into the early middle game. And so this is a really interesting time of the game, in my opinion. I do want to revisit the virus plot from the last episode because there's one thing we didn't do, which was to let the Colonel know that we succeeded.
I got a positive ID on the carriers, sir. They've been neutralized.
Well done. Congratulations.
Brief, but the Colonel seems reasonably pleased. Now, if we had not gotten on the horn to the Colonel right away, there actually would have been, because the delay between when you talk to him and they send the, Hubble 2 detectors, these would have not gotten up in time to prevent another infection, virus infection, which, from my experience and from what the walkthrough says, typically takes place on New Caroline. But the walkthrough says it's basically hard-coded in, and that's actually not the case, so we're going to be able to skip that second virus infection, and that will speed us along through this rank. So that's one very important thing I want to point out. Now, it is a couple days later, September 16th now, and we have stadiums up on Naxos and up on Sand Sterling, and there's one building on Achilles. Still have a couple more to hit, so we're partway through that. But it is time for our next bit of event with the plot, which is the final one of those random pirate encounters. And there's actually still 4 in the pool, so I want to sort of show the greeting that we get from all of those, since we're not going to be able to see them anymore. And we're obviously going to take one of the 4, and then the other 3 we just don't get to experience.
Come quickly. Things are starting to heat up, and I don't have a fire extinguisher.
Might want to get one, buddy. That one has a single destroyer. It's one of the ones actually from Lieutenant rank, but also 5,000 reward, which is why we didn't select it.
Sensors have detected unknown vessels closing in. They don't look friendly.
That's one of the tougher ones. 2 destroyers and a fighter. And amusingly, the traders, after you defeat them, will ask where they can purchase weapons.
Garthogs have arrived, and I don't think they're here to go to a Halloween party. We need help, please.
No, probably not for a Halloween party. A little bit early in the year for that yet. And that one is 7 fighters, which retreat quickly and give you a 1,500 reward. So, not as much, but still. We're going to go with the one that does not allow us to get a cash reward. That's who we're looking for.
Aliens are attacking. We need help. Do you read?
Oh, I read, but I think you're not even half as cool as you're acting there, pal. So this is an initiation, if you will, a rite of passage graduating from early game combat, which has been taught to us almost exclusively through pirate battles. Now there is some randomness to this fight, but it's also quite tricky. Our conversation here, leave that ship in peace, and they just say, kill them, the Garthog pirates. Okay. So this is a tougher trader ship than usual, but this destroyer has missiles that it's going to fire at it to essentially equalize that. So we're going to run you away to this corner. And then we're also going to run away our fighters initially, because we don't want them getting hit with missiles from the destroyer. On the other hand, the destroyer's missiles could then take out the trader, so it's sort of a catch-22 there. I am going to walk my destroyer and cruiser up this way. Now, this is the last battle that I care who gets the kills. The Terminator, 9 kills in Advanced. Excalibur, 16 kills in Pro. And I want to get Terminator up to Pro by the end of this engagement as well. So I do want them to hog all of the glory. There we go. You can see those missiles. Yep, firing away, firing away. Okay, you're coming up this way. Let's do that. Let's have you distract this destroyer. And then, the cruiser is going to take out the fighters, and our fighters are going to basically do whatever. Why don't you hang out over here for the moment? Okay. This is not too bad. You can take some hits. If you were down a little bit lower, I would be more cautious about it. But I don't want you to be firing here, so why don't you go after their destroyer? There we go. Okay, we're off to a pretty good start here. Our fighters are looking pretty good. We're starting to take some hits here, and we do have one of their fighters down. So let's just keep having our cruiser chop on through these. Looking good. Just gotta watch the health of everything. Okay, you can run up this way a little bit. Now, the other thing is we don't want to... I'm going to retreat you, and we don't want to take this destroyer down too far. And, yeah, we're stopping there. Now, everybody's going to be running for the rest of the mission, rest of the battle, rather, while this cruiser wipes everything out. Because if we take the destroyer down too far, then everything just retreats, and that doesn't help us. Why don't you just go over here? Nobody's fighting you. Just get out of the way. Then I want you to sort of hop back and forth, but I don't like what you're doing. I need the cruiser to get your attention. There we go. Now go back here. And just keep running back and forth, everybody. Ah, you're now chasing this destroyer. Fine, you run back this way, because otherwise you're going to be taking that completely out. That's not what I want either. There we go. You're down. And now let's take this one out. Come on, take it out. Bingo! I think we got it. Success! No losses on our side. They give us an excellent rating. Usually we get good. I'm not sure why. But of course I think this is just doesn't work that well as a feature. 7 fighters, 1 destroyer. That should get us our crew promotion that we wanted for the Terminator. And then it's about time someone taught those Garthogs a lesson. I'll report this to your commanding officer. Thank you. A Medal of Courage from the Free Traders Alliance. Your reputation has grown among the merchants. I believe this helps our relationships with one of the factions later on. Which, because of the way I'm going to be playing, actually doesn't even matter. But that actually could be a good long-term strategic plan under some playstyles. In any case, it's time to turn our attention back to domestic matters and finish up those stadiums. Dante has now been a captain for over 3 weeks, and it is September 18th. This is a key transition point in our economy, because we are about to do the last thing we can do to boost our tax income. And of course, that's been going non-stop since the beginning of the game. It's the main way you make money. But this is it. This is the last of it. The final stadium. And the only other thing we can do to boost our income is look at trade. There's 2 buildings you have. You have the trader spaceport and the bank, and there's another one we'll get later. But these are the 2 we have now at this point in the game. So the trader spaceport, 10,000. It's very big, a lot of energy, but not that expensive. And it produces a flat 600 credits. It does not matter how many traders visit the planet. It is simply 600 credits per game day, period. Or 150 per cycle. Then the bank doubles trade credits on the planet that it's on. So the actual effect of it will increase later, but right now it's going to boost that 600 to 1200. And it costs more than the trader spaceport. Doesn't nearly as much energy, and it's actually quite a small building. But the important factor here is you don't want to bank before trader spaceport. That would accomplish nothing. Double of nothing is nothing. So you need the trader spaceport so you have some income for it to double. And since those are cheaper, you don't want to just build like a spaceport and a bank and then move on. We're going to actually build all of our trader spaceports and then come back to do all of the banks. So I'm going to put this right over here. Another one of those nice little gaps that it's going to fit into. And that's all of our cash for the moment. So our next bit of flow here is going to be to go around to all of our planets and get those trade structures up. Now, if we look at our taxes, by the way, you can see over here on Naxos, of course, Earth-type planet, and it is at oppressive taxes, the highest they can go, and we still have positive morale. Like, I literally can't get the morale on this planet down to neutral, and that's even with, you know, the power being a little bit short. So, you can see the effect of all the buildings we have up. It's demanding everywhere else, except for on Centronome, where it will go up soon when we get that stadium up. So we're going to have oppressive on the Earth-like planets and demanding on the others. And that's the best you can hope for. September 20th now, a couple days later, and we have all of our stadiums up. Taxes are at the maximum. If we take a look around and see the numbers here, we see 90% roughly for tax morale across the board. We brought in 55,000 roughly the previous day, and only a small amount of it right here was from trade. You can see the trade income line there now starting to get some fill in. And if we take a look at that, the actual trade spaceport up and built, here's what it looks like on New Caroline. Don't have any of the banks yet. But if you had both the buildings up on all planets, you're going to get 1,200 per planet from trade, or 6,000 total, compared to our 55,000 from taxes. And the tax number is going to keep going up. Small amounts, but it will keep going up through population growth. So that's just a good example of how important trade is. It's a marginal add-on. It does add some, but tax is by far the most important, which is why we waited this long to do trade. Now, also a bit on power. I don't think I've explicitly talked about this yet. I apologize if I'm repeating myself from earlier in the series. But if we look at San Sterling, the nuclear power plant here produces 4935. We got a fusion going up because we finally do need more power here. And then we have a nuclear power plant on Naxos. And that produces 7735. Now there are several amounts that each type of power plant can produce, but it's random sort of whether you get a good or a bad one. And you know, the range can be as much as like a bad one can be only like half as much as a good one, or 2/3 maybe. Like, it's a wide amount that they give you. And I've tested this. Like, I've tried loading the same save, doing nothing else, just build the power plant in the same location at the same time under the same conditions. And what'll happen is you will actually get still different amounts. So it's not predictable by any condition of where you place it on the planet, that type of thing. Just, it's random luck. What you get is what you get. So our next bit here is, you know, build power where we need it, but then also get this last trade spaceport up and then get banks up everywhere. And that will totally complete then our maxing out of the income. Here is what a bank looks like, and I like the appearance of these. Nice spire, it's fairly colorful, seems pretty reminiscent to me of a fairly modern bank. And we have these either up or in process now on all of our colonies, which means the bottom layer of the economy, the growth and income side, all the infrastructure we can build is now completely in place. Little under a month of gameplay to make that happen. So it's time for the next layer. Factories, manufacturing, production, dealing with building up our fleet and our military capacity. So, spaceship factories are 20,000 and 4,000 energy. Equipment factory, 20,000, 2,600. Weapons factory, 24,000, 3,000 energy. So, all in the same general ballpark, fairly expensive cost, and definitely high energy hogs. We can't afford to be running low on power at this point now, at least for the planets that have factories, because they'll proportionally have their production lowered, and you won't be getting as much back from your investment if you let the power run low. The weapon and equipment factories, we're going to go with the weapon one here, they have the same footprint as, like, for example, the police station, fusion plant, you know, your basic 7x7, this is a fairly large building type of idea. Spaceship factory is a little bit different. And we're going with the weapon one here because it's the only one that's going to be able to get built and give us something useful before our next crisis reaches its climax. That's about to be introduced to us here. So, yes, we're going to get that going. And also worth noting that the factories, you can only build one of each type on the planet. Now, it won't let us build any more weapon factories. We have one down. But you can still build an equipment and a spaceship. So there is a per planet limit to your production.
Commander, we have received a message.
And here we go. More from the Colonel.
Commander, Admiral Benson is on his way to New Carolina. It's your job to escort the Admiral's ship to the planet. Listen carefully. If the Admiral doesn't return, neither should you.
So why is the Admiral visiting our backwater sector? Don't know. And by the way, New Carolina? I think that's just a small slip of the script there. It's New Caroline. I think the point of that is Admiral Benson is important enough to have a really big ship. Now, Benson's ship, of course, moves slowly, and that's actually to our benefit because it gives us more time. Hostilities will not ensue until Benson gets fairly close to New Caroline. And so we're going to have a little bit longer to get ready. By the next day here, Admiral Benson has progressed a good part of the way across the system. Let's get on the horn with the Colonel, see about getting some help with this. I did say it was important that we don't fail.
All right. I will send ships from the reserve.
Excellent.
Reinforcements have arrived.
That was easy. Let's see if he'll give us more than one.
Our resources are not unlimited. If you would take care of the ships I send you, you wouldn't need any more.
Definitely some frustration and annoyance setting in there. Can't say I blame him. Let's see what we got, though. We did get 3 more of these Valkyrie second-tier fighters. We only had 2 before. And then we also have another destroyer. The Cat Killer has the default loadout. So that's really going to help us. Let's take a look at investing our latest day's worth of funds. Now, on New Caroline, Weapons Factory is not quite up yet. It'll be done in an hour. A day plus an hour for the weapons and equipment factories. Day plus 6 hours for the spaceship factories to get underway. So I think what we want to do here while we're waiting for that to finish is just build more factories. I'm going to throw a spaceship factory down right here by the stadium. And then the equipment factory here. And this is going to give us the full set on New Caroline. Whoops. Pop up a bit more. There we go. And then I'm going to switch over to San Sterling, the only other planet that has enough power. Also build an equipment factory here. We'll get into a bit of the approach of which types to build and when and all that as we do more of the production element. So that's our funding, and let's just move forward now an hour till we can get that up.
Message.
Okay. We have something else to deal with then. Oh, well, we haven't heard from the family in a while.
Hello, baby. Hope all's well with you. Today I took Johnny to the museum. Tell your dad all about what you saw, son.
We saw lots of ships and rockets, and they had cool weapons. But some were kind of dinky things, and Mom says those are what you're in. And Dad, I don't see how you can fit into such a thing anyway.
I told you, Johnny, those were only scaled models. I'll keep it short. I know you must have lots of work. Can't wait to give you a big smooch. See ya.
Is it just me, or was she more believable this time? Although, not Johnny. I can't believe that Johnny isn't old enough, by the age that they appear to be there, to know what a model is. In any case, we're ready now to look at our production screen. First time we've been over here in quite a while. And if we go to equipment, still says 0 for capacity, spaceships 0, but weapons is 1,000. Now we can build lasers, or again, we can build other items, bombs and missiles, we can build some tanks, etc., radar car, but the only one that I care about right now is the lasers. Because I have time to get a couple more weapons on the ships before this battle hits. So, if you hit add, then it selects it down here. Importance, if you have a bunch of things in the list, then how much of the resources go to one or the other is determined by how high you put that. But we're just going to move up to 4. And the reason I'm going to do that is one factory can build about 3.5 of these a day. How do I know that? Game doesn't tell you, simply by testing. Because the cost here is not related to this at all. Like, there's cost and there's build time. And build time you're never told, which I think is a pretty big oversight. But the cost is accurate, and you have to pay the cost up front of what you're using. So once we start building a lot more of this, we'll have to be building that into, like, leaving a slush fund, if you will, in our cash, no longer running it down all the way. But in this case, if we unpause here, we'll just see this going up by 2 to 3%. And as this works, we're going to have time to build 2 of these before, shall we say, we have problems. So in the meantime, we're going to do our usual economic maintenance. And I'm also doing repairs while this goes on the 2 power plants that need it, the one on New Caroline and the one on Achilles, just to get them maxed out. And of course, we do have the money at this stage. There we go. What's next? I think we're still good here. Everybody is happy. So now we're going to be a little more careful. The lasers, the way the math works out, will take 7.5 hours each. So I'm waiting for the hour of 15. There we go. So now if we go back, look at our production screen, we've just finished 2. We've got 2 more on the way, and they will be fine for the rest of the day. So we are going to get those lasers on our ships. We're going to do the same trick as before with the military spaceport. We turn it on, and this time a bunch of stuff goes dark, but we don't care. We just got to remember to turn it back off in a minute. And then Dante, your ship here. Now, we have 2 lasers. So where are we going to put the lasers? Well, the cruiser's our best armed ship. And then the destroyer has roughly the same crew complement. Its shield is still a little bit damaged, but the laser, you know, these modules are fine. So I'm going to add them here, because my thinking is it'll use them more effectively than with the Cat Killer. But we do not want to forget that we have that extra shield. We're going to definitely put that on the Cat Killer as well. It'll at least be able to absorb more punishment that way. And so that's the best that we can really do for the moment. We're going to hold on with all of that. And now it is time to leave. We are going to move to the Admiral and prepare for the attack. Meanwhile, of course, flipping our spaceport back off and then getting power to the rest of our buildings. There we go. So let's take a quick look at what happens if you don't succeed in this battle.
I must relieve you. Shame, you could have been a good leader.
So clearly that's a game failure condition, and we do not want to repeat that. Let's try winning the battle. Although that's easier said than done, particularly when you haven't invested in a bigger fleet, as we haven't here, to build up our economy. So, very much a winnable battle, but it can take a lot of casualties if we're not really careful. So I like this setup for my ships. Flagships in front. Admiral Benson's flagship is crucial here, both in terms of absorbing damage and dealing it out. And then we can switch our fighters from being grouped up more to singled out. I do not want them grouped up more. I think they'll probably just die quicker that way. I do expect to take some fighter casualties here, but it's important that I don't take casualties that aren't fighters. And if I can do that and retain most of my fighters at the end, I'm going to call this one a win. So, overall, 16 ships, 315. They have 6 and 300. 3 fighters, but then 2 destroyers and a flagship. And fewer ships for them, but more powerful ones, as you can see. And then, you know, Benson's flagship has 4 ion guns, 4 missiles, 5 bombs, 8 lasers. The big thing here is, you know, getting to use the flagship for the first time. And we might have asked, too, why is Admiral Benson's ship under our control? Is it normal convention for the captain to take control of the admiral's ship in a significant battle as passing through the captain's territory? I would think it'd be the other way around. I'm sure that's just a gameplay convention. But in any case, you're going to move forward, draw the attention here, and at the beginning of all the fighting, I just want my fighters to go away and hide. So we'll do that. And due to the damage here, I'm going to back up a little bit with the Excalibur. Okay, so now I'm going to want to move up with these. And that should be far enough now that we can start. They're not too focused defensively. They're spreading out a bit. I want to unleash my ordnance. It takes 3 missiles to knock out a destroyer. And by the way, this bomb fire key here, it uses either a bomb or a missile, depending on what the target is. Bombs will be useless in this battle because we're only fighting other ships. So you target one at a time, wait for it to fire, target another. Okay, let's move you forward some. That's 3. That'll take care of the destroyer, and then we'll weaken this one with another one. Meanwhile, I want you to all be focusing on helping take out these fighters. Okay, there's one destroyer. Now, all of you group up. Well, first of all, let's make sure all of our fighters are way away from this. And then all of you group up and go after these fighters. One down. Another one down. Okay. Now we're going to go after the destroyer. Whoa. Flagship likes you. So now that they've closed into point-blank range, let's go ahead and target here. And whatever the flagship targets now, I want to run away with. There we go. And I'm not sure what it's going after now, but this is now between us and the flagship. Really be nice if the flagship would start targeting our flagship. That's what I want it to do. And I don't know what it's running around trying to target, but whatever it is, I'm very happy about it because it means, okay, it has hit us now, some, but it's not shooting at us as much because it's moving around here. It's about half down. This thing is a tough sucker, if you can't tell. Yeah, I think you're a little bit too damaged. These two are a little bit too damaged. They're a little bit risky. Let's run them. Okay. Oh, you're turning again. Okay, if you're going to turn to go somewhere else, let's pour it on now. It doesn't seem to know for sure what to target, so I don't know what to run with. That's fine. It's almost gone. There we go. Okay, I'm going to take that. How much did we lose? Nothing. Wow. I don't know if I've ever done this battle and not lost anything. I almost always lose one fighter, sometimes 3 or 4. But I will take it. Message from Admiral Benson takes me back to my early years in the service. Dogfighting is always exciting, Captain. I'll help you in your forthcoming battles against the Garthog vermin. Boy, we really don't like them, do we? By giving you these lasers. Good hunting, Captain. Of course, you can't blame them. There's a good amount of hate built up between humanity and the Garthogs at this point. Even in the time that Dante's been involved. So, 5 laser cannons have been added to your stock. Very nice. Okay. Success. Now, let's see how badly shot up we are. Of course, we don't care about Benson's flagship because it's not going to be under our control. We're going to keep escorting them all the way to New Caroline, but it's going to be fine there. Again, we have all 11 fighters. Very nice. Okay, so we still have the shield operational, but the hyperdrive and the shield are badly damaged on the Terminator. On the Excalibur, again, shield and hyperdrive's badly damaged. And then shield and weapons badly damaged on the Cat Killer. So going forward, these ships are going to not be in good shape, and they're going to need some help. Which is exactly what we're going to want to use our factories for. But if we take a look at, our options here, let me go back there actually. You can see that we now have 5 lasers in place. So we'll be able to outfit them with more weapons and continue the buildup. That's going to be our focus going forward, getting some help for those 3 ships in the fleet. And it's really nice just to be in the mode now where we can start to feel a little bit more powerful.